Hello, my friends. Today, we are going to be doing a reading for the lost soul. What is your purpose in this life? I wanted to do something related to archetypes, and I thought I did not want to be super specific about archetypes, given that each card is roughly an archetype. You could look at it that way. So I want to look at the bigger picture and look at, in this life, what is your purpose? You could look at it as, given the mixture of your archetypes, what are you put on this earth to do in this lifetime? What might you be fit to achieve given your true nature and the experiences that you uniquely undergo in this lifetime? Now, of course, this is general reading, but I believe that many of the aspects in one reading can apply to multiple people that may be quite different or hold different archetypes. And of course, in each reading, because there are so many people that will be drawn to each pile, you might want to take what uniquely makes sense to you. And of course, you may also be choosing more than one deck here, or even all four, whatever resonates with you. And again, like you might have seen some other pick a card readings, if you do not feel drawn to any one of these piles, this might overall not be the correct reading for you. There might not be a pile that is speaking to you, and that is okay as well. You can still feel free to watch the readings for general advice or entertainment or learning. Or if not, I will definitely try and put out very similar videos addressing similar questions. So, feel free to be patient and just check those out as well. So the rundown for pick a card readings are that you will pick which pile here, or which I've laid out a card and a stone, which assortment you feel most drawn to. Again, it could be a word, a number, like pile 1, 2, 3, 4. It could be the card itself, what it represents, the stone involved, just the colors there. Really anything. There's no right or wrong. How I do it personally is I envision that I'm in a store and I have to take one item or one assortment of items home with me, and I can only choose one of these items. And that seems to work for me personally. But I know that we're all different creatures. We all have our different methods. So anyway, let me get into it. So pile 1, we have the purple agate stone, and we have who I believe is Allie, the main character from The Notebook, representing the Ace of Cups here from the movie tarot deck. But if this is not Allie, then please correct me in the comments. I am a movie trivia amateur, and the person who created this deck did not include an encyclopedia for the aces, so I'm not exactly 100% positive. Pile 2, we've got Harrison Ford as Indiana Jones and this beautiful green stone. So pile 3, this one, we've got Mia Jovovich as Lilo in The Fifth Element with this beautiful auburn stone. I'm not exactly sure. Again, some of these two I got in a random pile of stones just very recently, so I'm not exactly sure, but you might know yourself or like its color and energy. And then last but not least, we've got Heath Ledger and Jake Gyllenhaal in Brokeback Mountain as the lovers. And I've also put the very fitting rose quartz, one of my favorite stones that I own. It's so soft and it's a very nice pink color. And just love this illustration of them here in the lovers. It's very nice. Okay, so again, I will give you all some time to meditate on the cards. Please use your own methods, which pile you are drawn to. If there's more than one, feel free to check out all of those videos. Also, if you would like to check them out and see which video resonates with you, that's another way to do it. But now is the time. Please pick your deck, and then I will leave links below to each one of the piles. And when you decide which one you are drawn to, please feel free to click that link, and I will see you there. Bye-bye. Hi, pile one. This is the reading for you folks concerning the question, what is your purpose in this lifetime? So what I pulled out is super interesting, and I also just want to tell you that the card that you picked was totally just jumping out at me. Like, I tried to not pick it even because I didn't want to do aces or any cards that I didn't know the actress or actor for. But that card kept coming out, so I felt like I really needed to include it, obviously, and I feel this is a very special pile. This is a very special person that I'm talking to right here, and a person that's gonna be very, very worldly in a way, concerning your talents. Like, right, you're gonna go through a lot of transformation, and kind of, I'm not saying you're perfect and that you're gonna develop every talent necessary on this earth, but I feel you are really going to go through a lot of different phases in your life in which you have to battle a lot of different challenges, and it's not gonna be like that bad. You're just gonna have to learn a lot of different things. And what I'm getting from this too, like, I feel like to start off, we have this Knight of Pentacles here. And the Knight of Pentacles is really, about planning, slow movement, putting your mind to something, knowing that if you put your mind to something, you can achieve anything or whatever you set out to. I feel like this might have been for you a part of your childhood and like your upbringing. Also, like, I feel like you were kind of mature as a child, not 100%, not in every area, of course, right? But there was an aspect of you that was very mature. And then we get to like this Fool area, which is definitely going to indicate some kind of total regeneration for you. That could be a Saturn return, maybe not. It could be, I believe it will be some kind of significant life event in which you're gonna kind of have to change this drastically. But I don't want to get too spastic right now, because this Nine of Pentacles, I want to talk like a little bit about how you grew up. I feel there was some slowness. What I really want to say is like the skill that you have that you were born with is organization, planning, some kind of logical capabilities in logical thinking. And this doesn't mean you're necessarily like a math, science-oriented person when you grew up. It can definitely mean that, but you definitely had a mathematical mind in the sense that you were able to know that whatever you set your mind to, you could achieve that goal, and that, you had to learn patience at a very young age as well. So because of all of those skills, that's why I say like you're a little bit mature here, right? Or you had to grow up at a younger age. You had to be logical, like you had to, I guess, when you were a child. The situations that you were in, but regardless, that will always be a skill that you have. 100%. And in your childhood, it happened at a young age, and it's always going to be there for you. But what happens here, what it's indicating is that I think that was sort of your mindset, right? Like everything had to make logical sense in a way. Not saying that you were completely a logical person, a logical mathematical person. I am getting a very, very creative vibe from this deck as well. So, and again, it's that person, a little bit of both worlds, a little bit, you could be like a little bit of a dilettante, although that's not necessarily like your total true calling, but you could have a lot of skills in which you don't exactly know how to apply them. And I think that is kind of the crux at where this change and regeneration is happening. In going this kind of organized, structured, methodical way of living your life, going about your career, your health, etc., and realizing it's not for you anymore. It's not giving you what you want. It's not giving you freedom to really live and explore your truth. It's feeling too constricting. And you're gonna reach a dead end, really. Like, where I think it's either like you're gonna follow your intuition and do it the easier way, or you're not, and there's gonna be a big kind of life event where you're gonna realize you have to change it all. And you're gonna know what I'm talking about, like some kind of rebirth. And it could even just be in a career, right? If your purpose is your career, but you are going to become again the person that you wanted to be, like when you were a child, okay? And you're gonna become more resilient in this. This is like really your pathway to spiritual maturity here. Becoming so self-reliant and becoming so just strong, stubborn in a way that you know what you want to do. This is gonna come because you have the ability here to let go. You have the ability to sense when things are going awry around you, what to do to change that again. So you never fall in this trapped way of living. And what I feel like too, you're gonna be like awoke. You're gonna become awake in this period. And that is really what I think your calling will be. Also to go through intense transformations and to help people who are trapped come out of that shell, become awakened, become woke. I don't know the fucking word. Become who they are as well. You're gonna build up so much resilience and you're gonna become a much deeper person. The death card is probably like the deepest card in the tarot. It's not talking about just moving on, like I'm moving to another state, or like I'm leaving behind my husband, or I'm gonna move on in a career, etc. The death card is moving on in our soul's evolution. So that's what's gonna happen. So you may or may not see that moving on in the physical realm, but it will happen deep inside, this deep need for regeneration over and over. What yours will be is always a learning task. And you might feel like this already, like, oh, this learning task that like you try to control, you try to plan your situation and things just don't go always the way you plan them. And so you're gonna have to use your creative mind. That's why I really feel like I was sensing this creativity here. And the sign of the Fool, like you're gonna be able to intuitively sense like when is it time to move on here? When is it time to let go? And you're gonna become the master of letting go, right? And that for you, you're gonna be able to, I feel, make like a method, help foster a method in order to help others let go and others undergo this deep, deep transformation a lot more smoothly in their lives as well. Just as you did, because now for you, it's gonna become like you're gonna be able to be 1 million people. And that might resonate too. And I definitely just wanna say that like, if you're a person, if you're in a low period in your life right now, like depressed, any kind of mental illness, physical illness, etc., I can tell you 100%, and you pick this pile, that is not your identity. Okay, and that's another thing. Like it could talk about some kind of like multiple personality disorder type of thing, dissociation, a fragmented personality, right? But that is going to become, if that is you, that is going to become a light for you. Like you would find happiness in something like that. And I'm not saying like if you're deciding, whether I mean, I'm not advocating against it or for it, but if that is something that you feel happy in, you should do that. Like, you should let yourself be. Let yourself be as many people as you want to be, because in that you will learn. You will learn about all the different aspects of life and humanity, and you'll learn really about yourself. And I think that's what happens here. That's the beauty, especially of this death card. Eventually we can start to see how beautiful the world is through the beauty of our soul and its regeneration, its ability to regenerate, and how we encompass everything within us, right? So this is, as a whole, almost speaking to the world card, right? Because you're going to be able to see so much in this life, really. You're going to be reborn and die again so many times, and it's going to be such a beautiful thing. Okay, and so I just want to ask, like, in the Oracle Tarot cards, in what avenues might you channel this soul purpose? Could be through a career, relationships, yourself, a side hustle, a hobby, etc. Okay, we have the Emperor. Let's see. Oh. Okay. The Lovers and Strength. The Lovers in reverse and Strength in reverse. Okay, so for me, right, this is saying, like, you're gonna be a very powerful person, 100%. And like this status surge, like, and then the Emperor, which is representing power, like, you might be famous. Like, I really don't want to say that because I don't, like, want to tell you something and get your hopes up. But you might, like, own a business or something like that. And this is really going to be you using your mind, your logic, right? Your mental state is going to be very important regarding this purpose and relaying it to others. So I believe, and it could be about writing, right? Or something, writing or speaking to others. And or again, like using that logic, using those logical talents that you have to get these talents out there, which is the beautiful thing, because what you're talking about is the Death card, the 10 of Swords in reverse here, like really, really deep stuff. And your medium, your tools for using this are going to be using logic to formulate and put a plan together. And I feel you're going to be like very independent in this. This is going to be separate from your love life. This is definitely going to be like a career type of thing or a side hustle, but it's definitely one in where you will be influencing others and helping them out of this. And again, with like the Ace of Swords, just having it be the Ace card and the Fool here, I feel some kind of childlike liveliness here. Like it could be involving working with children. It could be just involving maybe some kind of creative activity or something in where your inner child play type of attitude might be stimulated here because of this Ace, even though we have this Emperor, which is like the father figure. But again, you know, using that realm of duality, having your mind be very clear, like knowing what you're doing, formulating a plan, a method, and that is for the massaging of the soul. It's like the word, the phrase I'm getting, the massaging of the soul, the regeneration of the soul, right? But we think about massaging, right? Just like letting loose. a little bit. And we have this strength card in reverse, which is kind of beautiful because it's going to talk about, again, like I said, maybe helping people out that feel trapped, that feel like they are having trouble with this transformation. And like the strength card in reverse is going to be in that avenue. Like it's going to be maybe a life coach could also be a thing, like really reintroducing play and childlike happiness to people that feel like they don't have it. And doing that in a methodical way, saying like using your logic skills and saying, this is how you do it. Like there will only be happiness here, like something like that, you know, and also being able again to touch into this very, very deep part of yourself. You are a very multifaceted person, right? You've got the logic, you've got the inner child, playful, creativity, very strong, resilient, and then super deep, in touch with your soul, transformative, etc. Those are, you know, and if you know your archetypes or if you're interested in that and all, I think I just spoke to a few in there. So you can kind of touch on those, see if you think it's correct or not. I'm just gonna see, I guess, our guidance cards. I'm gonna use this movie tarot deck, but only the major arcana, and just ask a message from our guides, any kind of guiding advice or any kind of people that want to come down and speak to you regarding this question for you, pile one. What is your soul purpose in this lifetime? Okay, what is your soul purpose in this lifetime, pile one? Oh my God. I'm like gonna cry right now. We've got the star. Oh my God. We've got the world. Is there anything else for pile one right now? Okay, honestly, like, I usually pull like 2 to 4 cards for this, and I was even saying this before, which is crazy, but that like all of these cards combined was giving me the world, which it 100% is, and also like telling you that if you're in a negative period right now in your life, please stick it out. Know that that is not you. The only part of that negative period that is you is the part that finds the strength to move forward, is the part of you when you pick yourself back up and get out of that negative period. That is you. And that is this star. And this is coming from your guides right now. And same with this world, because I think they're saying like, my God, and you definitely, like, I believe, have some angels with you. And I think, you know, if you are going through a negative time, they're here right now to tell you that it is okay. You absolutely will move on. And if you don't see it yet, eventually you'll be able to at least look back on your life and piece things together. Not your whole life. They don't want you to know everything yet, but at least piece things together to have some kind of sense of how beautiful your life really is and has been, despite what you think of it. And I really think this is a very special pile, because that card, that Ace of Cups, Allie from The Notebook, is that was like jumping out at me. I really think whoever is watching this reading really needed to watch this tarot reading right now. Now we have the world. Again, like I said, you're going to be like a worldly person. You're going to encompass so many different traits and skills over your lifetime. And you probably can recognize this a little bit already. And this is why I said, like, you might sometimes feel like a dilettante, but I don't believe like that's really your archetype, right? Because we have this like death card. You're a very, very deep person. So like you can like sort of be a dilettante, but you're more of like a shapeshifter, I think, or clown, you know, because all of these transformations and all of these personas that you occupy or have occupied mean a lot to you. They are significant. They are a significant part of your life right now and forever. And I think also in reading these two beautiful cards together, not only are these both talking about like the divine is around you, so like your guides are telling you right now, they are here, you are one with them, they're looking out for you. And also just know that you can reach out to them whenever, you can ask them questions. And I think that maybe spiritual, like some kind of form of spirituality might really help you in understanding all of this and how it works together, because you might feel, you know, and especially as like a more logical person who grew up around people that were maybe more mathematical, that maybe trained you to do things by the book, you might not see how you will ever move forward or in times, or how you will ever fit in or make your unique skills work out. So I think that, you know, there might be some kind of answers for you within spirituality, within astrology, even like the star, in meditation, some kind of meditation, or yoga, somatic body movement, to be able to get in touch with aspects of yourself in a very, very intimate way. Because it's saying that like your task in this life is to incorporate this world, the idea that all is one. That is the major lesson of the world, what we finish. And isn't that so beautiful? Like the Fool and the World. We've got both. We've got the beginning and the end here. But yes, anyway, so that is your reading, pile 1. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye. Here we go, pile 2. Hello. If you picked pile 2, the Indiana Jones and this lovely emerald stone, this is the reading for you. Okay, so again, we are talking about what is your soul purpose in this lifetime. And what I'm getting for you guys is, well, there might be 2 different things, but the first one, and really the thing that I feel very significant here, is that your purpose is a lot about shedding your ego. And ego meaning specifically here a lot about approval of others or what others think, or, you know, how you view yourself. Like think about Leo energy, like how you are, what you are, and who you are to the world. Like what is that image? I'm getting like a lot of that in childhood for you, having struggles with that. I'm also getting a sense, so this is maybe how my other interpretation figured in, because I'm also getting a sense that like with the sun in reverse, you could have had a very kind of difficult upbringing where you just were not very happy. You were not very happy. You did not get to play like the other kids did. You felt, and again, like I don't want to talk about demographic circumstances here. You may very well have like grown up in a very unfortunate situation. And for that, I am so sorry. And I can tell you that it gets better. So that is actually going to be, I mean, everything from our childhood kind of comes back to haunt us, whether we want to or not. But I think let's look at this at a more symbolic level, right? Because it's not about what we have or what happened to us as a child as much as how did it affect us, right? And so you may very well have been a person that suffered greatly as a child and had to grow up early because of circumstances around you. But you also could have just been afflicted in some way in which you felt like you were stripped of what other children had. Okay, you felt like you never really saw the light, if that statement resonates with you at all. You felt like you never really had that joyous, like playful opportunities that other kids had. And you might look back on your childhood and say, you know, it was stressful. You know, even if you did grow up in a very loving environment, I believe that a big aspect of that for you, and this might have started, you know, even around your teenage years or middle school years, when you started, you know, went through adolescence and had to sort of fit in with kids in a new way. That was very difficult for you. Some aspect of it, whether, you know, you felt like you didn't have friends, enough friends, the right friends, where you felt that you were not able to do the right activities, where you just felt like, you know, the sun also represents success. And so you felt like there was some barrier in you achieving really what you wanted to achieve in this life. And it's kind of beautiful because of that. You have to kind of get your shit together at a younger age, but you really kind of get it at a younger age. Like the circumstances around you make it so that, and I'm just gonna jump the gun a little bit and read these 4 cards as a whole, but you realize you at some point have a very deep connection with yourself. You might have had to spend like a lot of alone time here, but you might also get into yoga, meditation, religion, or spirituality a little bit, I'm sensing. Yeah, you could be, you know, agnostic, but spiritual, not religious, that kind of thing. And that is a direct result of your childhood, of kind of having this disjunct, not as playful situations going on, and you really having to say, okay, you know, what do I want with my life? How do I find that success that I want? And you find that it's really within, and your journey is very beautiful because you are such a creative person. Like you have such deep feelings, and because of this early on ego conflicts, you are able to, at a younger age than most, start shedding your ego. And your goal is to very much not be a superficial person, to express yourself, like really being the real you. And this life purpose may or may not be in your career, but if it is in your career, 100% I feel it's going to be in the arts in some form, especially with this King of Cups, because your crux in life will really be to master your emotions and to be able to give to others, express to others, and show others in a logical and no nonsense kind of way. This is who you are, this is what you feel, and that is that. This is who I am, and this is what I feel, and that is that. This is me. You're you, and you can do you, and you can be who you are, but I've gone within. I have an intimate relationship with myself. I've gone within, and I can tell you that I know that this is who I am, and this is me, okay? And that's really with this Page of Wands, like what your life task will be, to know that you don't need others' approval. You're gonna be a very creative, very like spiritual, have those abilities to be very spiritual and go, you know, and meditate and understand yourself more than others can. And you're gonna eventually mature to say, I don't care what other people think. It doesn't matter what other people think or who I am according to them, because I know who I am. I've gone on my own very, very unique journey. It's been a little bit tough, and I've done the work that I need to within myself. And I think because of tough times, you have something about you where you instinctually, I'm not gonna say at like the youngest age, because you definitely like struggled a little bit early on trying to find a pathway, trying to find a way to like heal yourself when things went awry. But at some point at a younger-ish age, you're gonna realize, like, whether that's things like I said, like meditation, yoga, spirituality, some form of religion, even like an art practice that is more religious or methodical to you, that those kind of things are what you need to heal. Those kind of things become part of your healing, and you're gonna mature in that way at a younger age to know for yourself that you need some kind of practice to get in touch with yourself and go within in order to heal. This is very, very beautiful. People are going to really look to you as like such a beautiful person and such a strong person too. And I think even more, you're gonna find that the more that you stop trying to do things for your ego, the more that you remove yourself from who am I, the more you will become. That's really what I'm getting with this, because you are the king of water. Water has this mutable, flowy, cyclical nature to it, and water is only what it is in its container, right? Like the container around it is how we see and can quantify and really look closely at the water, but it just depends on that container. And I'm not really saying this well, but I hope that you can kind of follow along. Like, we are not the container, but we are the water. And that is very much you, pile 2. Like, you are meant to shed your ego in this lifetime. You are meant to be super strong, super creative, and super introspective, and very self-sufficient in that way, in an emotional way. And in that, you will inspire others to also be self-sufficient, because when you are able to say, without any strings attached to the notion, I am this and I feel this way just because I do, others will, although maybe off-put at first, they will honestly be a little bit scared, intimidated, and really kind of then take what you're saying into consideration and become inspired by it. So a big message for you is to do you, And it's not necessarily about being like the rebel, although that may be one of your archetypes, that may be included in this. But I guess it is about sort of being the rebel. Because in a way, it's not necessarily like being a conventional rebel, like what we might look at a rebel with like tons of piercings and tattoos and like a biker jacket, the stereotypical rebel, but you will have to rebel against what you consider the norm, what you consider a normal life, and realize that those are just tropes. Like, those are simply just ideas that society places in our head, and nothing more than that. Nothing more than that. There's so much more when you go deep inside to yourself. There's so much more that we have yet to define in this world. And you can be that person, you know, just by going within and understanding your emotions. Again, this is the sign of emotional intelligence. So that really is you, because you're gonna have to learn this at a younger age, and it's gonna prep you for the real world. Okay, and I'm gonna pull some oracle cards to see what kind of avenues this life purpose might come in through, whether that is a career or just, you know, a relationship or side hustle, just life situations in which this life purpose is going to come through for you, pile 2. Okay, how will this? How will this purpose come through? Okay, we've got the 8 of Swords. Also got the 9 of Coins, or the 9 of Pentacles. Got this 5 of Swords. And how else will this come through for pile 2? What else is this gonna come through and for pile 2? Okay. 7 of Wands. Gotcha, which is about self-protection. Alrighty, this is like kind of what I said. And now the more that I think about it and talk about it with these Swords cards, you know, again, like I said, like the meditation coming in and being involved, the challenges and problems like with others, and this 8 of Swords, which is kind of like the trauma card or the feeling of being trapped. But I like in this Oracle deck, they have some new creative ideas for these cards. The 8 being like caring for yourself, and that being kind of the lesson of this 8 of Swords, which is a very difficult seeming card. And this 5, like challenges and problems, like that's gonna help you. And then these 8 and 9 numbers that are coming here are seeming like very significant to me. 98, you might have been born in 98, or 89, you might live to 98. Your apartment number, your house number might be 98 or like 89. I don't know. Your numbers might be 8 and 9 in numerology, right? But again, we have this 9 of coins, this 9 of pentacles here, and talking about good fortune. So I think like you really have a karmic kind of purpose in this lifetime, and where you may go through some ups and downs financially, but you will be taken care of. You will know that you will be taken care of always, because you're always going to be able to go back to that place. Like, just look at this guy, you know, he's like gold, and he's sitting on this gold bed with this gold sword and this stained glass here. Like, he's meditating, right? Literally and or symbolically, you know, and that is you. You're always going to be able to go back inside and find your strengths, right? Taking a stand, sticking up for yourself. And this goes with this King of Cups card, I think, and even this Page of Wands in reverse, because you're gonna go through so much like earlier on that you're gonna know your boundaries. You have to look for those situations when you have to stick up for yourself and pull yourself out of those bad times. And that's when you're gonna be so prosperous. When you were younger, you might not have had everything, but because you're able to go inside, because you are so creative and have that ability to really envision things, you're going to be able to, like, if you've seen The Secret or know about like visualization, you're going to be able to visualize like and manifest what you want here. A lot of this again is about you, right? Caring for yourself, taking a stand for yourself, challenges and problems, fighting off anybody, you know, that tries to get in your way. And that like very much might be what you make art about, make some kind of creative project about. The challenges that you've had to face, the struggles that you've had to go through, that may very well be a part of it. And you're gonna find, you know, with this Page of Wands in reverse, again, like that spiritual maturity for you is gonna be letting go of your ego, becoming not who you think you should be or who others think you should be, or that image that's already implanted in our society, but something completely different, unique in yourself. And so that might be a big challenge for you and a big barrier for you, and it's a lot harder than it seems. But accepting that and protecting that, protecting who you are and the gifts that you do have, which is so much like wisdom, creativity, being in touch with your feelings, and really being like a visionary, I feel, you know, and strong, able to stick up for yourself. Those are your strengths. And that is the person that you are. And again, like when you become an artist or decide to make creativity a priority in your life, you might again find challenges within that in defining yourself. But this is saying that alrighty, pile 2. So now I'm going to pull some guidance cards for you from the movie tarot deck that I used for the pile picker arrangements for this video. These are guide cards. You could think of it as guidance, advice, or your guides from above trying to send you a message about this spiritual life purpose for you. But we will see what we've got in store. Pile 2, is there any kind of guiding advice that pile 2 needs to know? What kind of guidance do we have? This one. The Empress. Cool. Let's see what else. What other guiding cards do we have? The Sun. Oh my gosh. Oh my god. Getting chills. And any other kind of guiding advice? Do we have Justice? Wow. This is fucking crazy. Sorry, I just said the F word. Oh my god. I'm crying on the inside, pile 2. Okay, so I want to read who these characters are also. That's sort of the reason why I did these readings, was for the archetypal images that they represent, to help enhance that. So we've got the Empress, who is Elizabeth Taylor as Cleopatra in Cleopatra. And here's a quote from that movie. "A woman, too, must make the barren land fruitful. She must make life grow where there was no life. Life lesson, true acceptance and wealth come from within and can easily extend outwards." Oh my god. That's like literally what we were just talking about. Okay, and then for the Justice card, we've got Clint Eastwood as William Money in Unforgiven. And a quote from this character is, "I've killed just about everything that walks or crawled at one time or another. And I'm here to kill you, Little Bill, for what you did to Ned." Life lesson, your choices and actions affect others and will return to you. Okay, and then we have the Sun, Julie Andrews as Maria von Trapp in The Sound of Music. Okay, and a quote from her is, "Reverend Mother, sorry, I couldn't help myself. The hills were beckoning. The sky was so blue today. Everything was so green and fragrant. I had to be a part of it." And the life lesson here is recognize and nurture the places and relationships where your light can shine. This Sun card especially just seems very important too for this reading, because it's gonna all come back to you. What you didn't have and the situations that were unfair to you, especially with this Justice card, right? That's gonna come back around and you're gonna get your Sun moment. You're gonna get your success, childlike play, joy moment. And it's gonna be in your way and on your own terms. Okay, if you decide to be a person that seeks the beauty in life, if you decide to be a person that goes within and, you know, nurtures others, nurtures yourself, cares for yourself, mothers yourself, learns about those inner child struggles, and learns that they might not have been fair for you, but they made you the person that you are today. And that fairness and success is not going to depend on what others give to you and on how others defined you, but on how you decide to live your life. You are going to become like a great mother. I mean, I'm not saying you are going to be a mother, and you could be like completely a male, but you are going to be able to become or really channel that archetype of the mother, the empress, like the nurturer. Get intimate, get deep down into nature, and be able to feel and to do what feels right for you. To know, to develop that emotional intelligence, to know what is right by trusting your intuition, developing caring mechanisms that work for you creatively, and not having to rely, being able to be so powerful and really be the creator in manifesting the life that you want to live. And that, because you'll find that it's not about, like, you may never get what you lacked in childhood. That may never come back to you. But what does come back to you is the life lessons that you learn from what may never be fair and what may never be able to be understood. But what you'll gain is from dealing with that at such a young age and push yourself through, the person that you become is worth so much more than whatever you lost and whatever you never will get back from your childhood, okay? And that couldn't have come if you just had a normal, beautiful childhood like the rest of us. That couldn't have come without struggles. And so that you don't need to be that perfect person, but you're gonna find that the more that you embrace yourself and your true calling as like really an artist type, creative, beautiful, passionate individual, that is all you need in this life. Because all of those other normal, happy, good things, fun things, they're temporary. They only happen to some of us, Your life is beautiful just the way it is. I believe, in this lifetime, you will achieve self-acceptance, which so many people will not. And that is, again, like the real justice here. You'll learn how to be happy within yourself and with your feelings when so many other people in this world that grow up in whatever situation, probably much better than yours, are not going to be in touch with that. You're going to see the beauty of this world and be such a beautiful person. Being able to transform those struggles and say, this is me, this is who I am, no matter what. And choose self-love instead of getting caught up in struggles of the past. And from that gift that you have, you will inspire others to do the same. I think you were meant to be in this lifetime to undergo a lot of maybe very potentially unique struggles, or very long-term, seemingly impossible struggles. That is all for the reason of you coming out of that like a phoenix and showing other people how to be like a phoenix, basically. Coming out and finding the light where it was completely dark. Okay? So, thank you so much, Pile 2, for joining me today in this reading. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time, hopefully. Thank you. Bye-bye. Alrighty. Hello, pile number 3, if you chose pile number 3, with the World card and this beautiful auburn stone, then this is the reading for you regarding your soul purpose in this lifetime. So for you, pile 3, what is cool and interesting, and I'll probably get to it in a bit, is that the World card from the movie tarot deck is the one that you chose, but this World card actually came out first for you. So Something about that card, or that idea of the world, if you know tarot or even if you don't know tarot, something drew you to that idea of like the world card. And I think that definitely holds a lot of meaning for you in who you are as a person. And I think also the fact that this reading I intended for lost souls, or who feels like a lost soul in this moment, in this time. I feel for you, that is probably the truth for you more than for anybody in any other pile, it seems. Although, of course, we all have our ups and downs in life, and they are all a little bit unique in all these piles. For you, I feel you may very well have identified as being lost, at least at a younger age, or, you know, approximately in childhood or adolescence, teenage years, even now to this point in your life, however old you are. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason, because your life's gonna be a bit of a scavenger hunt. So you've got this world card that came out first. And if we're talking about strictly archetypes here and like the child archetypes, this could very much indicate a divine child archetype. If not, it could also indicate an innocent / magical child archetype, which are a little bit different. And if you would like further information on that, I'll probably leave below specifically Carolyn Miss's book on archetypes. There are a lot of other people that also talk about archetypes, but I am familiar with her teachings, so when I talk about archetypes, a lot of that knowledge is from her and her book Sacred Contracts and her archetype cards, which I do not have, but I know a lot of other tarot readers have them. Okay, so this world is coming up for you, regardless of the whole archetype spiel, at a very young age. And if you're into astrology, I'm sensing some like Piscean energy, like in the early on stages of your life. So that could be a parent or family member as well, or you, or maybe not, you know, maybe a teacher. I don't know. Maybe there's like a Pisces vibe to your life, like in the early part. Anyway, I feel that you did at a very early age feel connected to all living things. You might have very much liked animals a lot. I felt like there was a spark in you that either you have realized at this point, or you will realize at a certain point that I'm not gonna say you're like special or like the chosen one, because that's very subjective, but you are a person that's come on this earth to show us the teachings of this archetype. All is one. We are all one. And you are deep, deep down a very kind person. Now, situations may have gotten in your way in which, you know, you had some trauma and people were mean to you, and so you had to build up a defense, and this kind of messed you up a little bit. But deep down, you prefer kindness. In life, you may be a little bit of a softer individual, or you might have been and had to kind of toughen up a little bit in some aspect, which this could be in learning and knowing. This could be in just protecting yourself, sticking up for yourself. I'm gonna remove this. But you definitely had to develop some thicker skin. And that's for the purpose of being able to not only understand others, because that's just a part of it, but to relay this information to others who might not be as sensitive or caring and nice as you are, to be able to see the maybe opposite person as you, in order to help them grow, to help them experience at least a little bit of this kind of wholeness in this life, right? So that is your gift. That is your gift. That is just something that you always have with you. And I want to say too, like, you definitely have a beautiful, beautiful soul, like that you were born with at a young age, and you may like get to a certain point where you miss those times. And that honestly, this could have been like the first 2 months of your life, the first few months of your life, and then like you started to get in situations where you had to harden yourself or where things just were not going in your favor, but you always had that understanding. And this Hangman in reverse and next to this world, and then the King of Swords, which is like, it's kind of like, whoa, like, it's like, what is going on here? Those are so opposite. But this Hangman in reverse, it's kind of saying like, and look at it like this, the sun, the crown being illuminated on the head, the light on the head, like people see you as a light, and they might also see you as a little bit apathetic, and you definitely are not, but you might just, because you have this world, because you have this understanding of all is one, the ultimate like kind of ending realization is that you don't see why you have to wrap yourself up in all of this hard stuff that we do in society. Like, you don't see the point necessarily. And I think part of that is good because like that's your strength, but it might be a little chaotic for you. So you can come across like as this light, but this is really, this Hangman in reverse is really going with this World card and just almost like enhancing it. Like you are this divine child. Like you are meant to be on this earth to show people the light. Like, if that is making sense to you, to show people like beauty and kindness and connectedness, right? But in order to do that, this is where this part of duality and this interesting part comes in. In order to do that, you're gonna have to really find mental clarity, clear your minds, become very mentally sharp, focus, this King of Swords, just like you're going to have to find detachment in this connectedness, right? You're going to have to be able to break it apart. Like for most of us, we know this King of Swords or this sword-like air, logical thinking energy so well. That's sort of how societies run, on facts, on scientific facts, right? But you just naturally are so inclined to like much more spirituality, art, creative sector, that you see no need to break things down into so many fragments in so many ways when it really all kind of means the same thing, right? And in the end, everything is love and light and divine energy, right? But because you have this understanding, what you are put on this earth to do is to teach other people these ways, to teach other people the wisdom that you really have. And so because of that, I see you really excelling in school and or in like an academic profession, becoming the master of being able to master the mind and like to be able to teach people these ways in a very, very clear and effective manner, to really know what all of this is coming from and how it relates to the society that we live in that is so factual, to be more involved in what goes down in the world that most of us mortals live in, like how we communicate and how we understand things and knowledge. And you're gonna have to not only learn that, but master that. You're gonna almost have to like change who you are. But the thing is, I think for you especially, you can never lose sight of this very divine, nice, and connected aspect of yourself. You can never lose it, because that is going to come in for you as your placement in this world, and where you really have to teach people. You have to go through it all. Like you have to understand intuitively and logically in order to teach people the great life lessons. And like this Hierophant he's not just a teacher, he's the great teacher. Okay, and I feel from you, because you are so nice and connected and you have good intentions, that's why you're able to be this great teacher in this lifetime, this really bearer of wisdom. Your hurdle is understanding that wisdom that you need to share with others and understanding how to share it with others. And what it's going to come down to is you, like I said, going to academia, but it might not be that. Like it could be unconventional, like really just getting books and studying on your own, watching YouTube videos, etc. But you're gonna have to master that knowledge. You're gonna have to clear your mind. You're gonna have to be able to explain this to every single person, in every single language, and that could be like an actual like cultural language, or a language like math or science, or like to logical people, to creative people, to the young people, to older people, you know. I think you're gonna have to master communication is what this is saying, because this life purpose for you was to communicate this divine wisdom to the world and help the world restructure itself based on this knowledge, based on this understanding that all is one, that all we need is love in this world. We should not be as hateful towards each other. We should not be as consumed by negativity, consumed by money and superficiality, but that if we look closely within each other, we can find love, and that any negative thought can be switched around to a positive, loving thought. You've experienced that spiritual connection, and you do have the ability, you know, to not live in an egotistical mode. Like, you don't feel super connected to egotistical ways, like you have to abide by some kind of image that others see for you or society sees for you. You're very like mutable person. You can adapt yourself to whoever is around you and can open up your heart with kindness to them. And, you know, at whatever part in this journey you're on, if you're currently getting more fierce and getting a bit more structured in your thoughts and your ways of finding logic and meaning in the world, just remember what you know. Remember what you've always known and what you always believe, because what you truly believe in is kindness, okay? When you break it down, you might get sucked into society sometimes, right? Like this hanging, like playing this role, you might get sucked in, but go back to your beliefs, like what you really believe. Don't just accept power and overuse it, because you know that when you break it down and when you really go back and think, what are your motivations in this world? I think you're gonna come and say, actually, kindness, loving everybody, you know, finding the meaning in life, generosity, charity, caring for others, nurturing others, playing with animals, you know, just anything that reminds you of love. I think that's really what you want in this world. And depending on what stage you are in your life, that might be like very well known, or it might be like buried very deep within. But I do believe you are put on this earth for the purpose of love. And to connect with others. You will get to a stage where you will help shape this world for the better, and will help teach people how to love and how to be generous and kind to each other. So beautiful. So I'm just going to pull a few oracle cards to see what kind of avenues you might find these gifts and this purpose in. Like, what tools might you use to harness these gifts, or where these gifts might show up in your life for you. So this is quite interesting to me. And with this justice in reverse, all of these are kind of going back to like you trusting within yourself in divine guidance and your intuition, not necessarily what the world, that the society is telling you to do. You might not always be in that space where you feel the love, where you feel that divine energy, but you always have the ability to go back to it 100%. And those spaces in which you're going to be able to harness it are like when you kind of fall into the pits of anxiety, and those moments where you again realize, and here's the contradiction coming in again, that although you have to gain this mental clarity and like be a mastermind, on the contrary, those things are not going to bring you happiness, that ability to know everything. But what it's going to do is help you to be able to understand and bring this understanding to others like even more. So that's why you don't want to get caught up in your ego. You don't want to get caught up, like, when you were born, you're made just fine. Okay. And you're gonna be lucky in that you will achieve this goal at the end. You will go back home, if that makes sense, to the love, to that connection. There will be some kind of event, and it's going to happen where there's like a lot of unfairness, there's trauma. You're gonna maybe get caught up too much in like who you are, who you're supposed to become, etc. And you're gonna be pushed to a limit with that. That's going to be a breaking point for you in order to find this love. Once again, you were meant to be put into this world that was like seemingly very opposite from you, and have to build up to a person that is very, very different from who you kind of were born as. But within that, you're gonna find balance. Like after your trauma, after your struggles, after that ability to like find some resilience and to be able to explain yourself and understand others that are different than you by becoming that something that's different. I almost feel like for you, like you could be like a method actor type of person, right? Like where you have to really become that thing in order to understand it, like really empathize. It's gonna make you so wise, so wise. People are gonna come to you for this knowledge, right? And you're always gonna grapple with like, who am I? Am I this like depressed person who's just trying to like achieve and never gonna achieve my goal and who's not good enough for this society? Or am I this like super wise, evolved, connected, loving person? And the truth is the latter, but you need to incorporate every experience throughout this lifetime within you in order to come back home to yourself, if that makes sense. Okay, and your life, it's not a very conventional life. I mean, I'm talking about like the soul level, right? So like you might live like a more conventional, traditional lifestyle, and that's fine. You know, everybody's different, but there is going to be something special about you that you're going to know. And I'm not saying like you don't want to get this to your head too much. And I think you know that. Like if you think like, oh, I'm the special one, like, you know, that can cause problems for you. You know, you don't want to just think that, but like, because you are unique and your uniqueness is this divine energy, this understanding of this all is one connectedness. You're going to have different unique strengths, and things that seem as weaknesses are going to come in later as in life as your strengths, 100%. And those strengths are going to be just so evolved. I think for you, like the lesson is learning, right? But like coming back home, like meditate, you know, or do activities to bring yourself back home to like who you are. Let yourself go out for the day and explore all these challenging areas that aren't your own, and like learn and evolve yourself as a soul, as a human being. But come back, especially when you have hard days or your energy gets depleted, or people are trying to take things away from you or steal your light away, you know, get that light back. Like come back to that place of home, of love, of connectedness, of happiness, of divine energy. Okay, and last but not least, I'm going to pull just some guidance cards. These are, you can think of them as like cards that guide you, tarot archetypes that guide you, guides in the sky, in the stars, in the divine plane that are your guides trying to give you a message, and or just tarot cards that are really like final guiding advice for you on your soul's journey in this life right now. So let's see. Okay, I feel like this was me. Oh my god. This was like the card you chose. Okay, so like it's just wow. Let's see what other messages do we have for pile 3. So this is kind of like what I was saying before, finding that balance. Like, I think that's gonna be something for you. Like, you have to balance those really opposite forces in your life. You're gonna be like the ultimate like temperance card, and this like Empress right here is, I feel this is kind of adhering to the type of teacher, the type of like wise individual that you will become, is, I believe, this Empress. Like, so this might also be like your calling as a mother figure, as a teacher that's more motherly, nurturing. You might be like working with kids, or in some kind of creative profession, in some kind of, it might be health as well, nurse, or something in which you give like so selflessly to people, but you're concerned about people getting the nourishment and the nourishing care that they need. And I believe that you, my love, need to really take care of yourself and be very kind to yourself. I believe your guides very much are telling you that they are here with you, okay, that you are this worldly energy indeed. But then it's like, okay, so now we know this, what do we do on this earth? How do we work with that energy? It's actually difficult, even though coming into this life in the beginning with the knowledge of the end is so difficult, okay? Let me just tell you that, okay? It's like you open Pandora's box right when you were born, all right? You have to work with yourself, balance, and take care of yourself in order to embrace this energy the most. And it won't always be there. That's just part of the lesson. That's part of what you need to know, but you can always bring yourself back. And in practicing how to bring yourself back to that balance, to that nurturing, loving, worldly, loving, divine understanding, that's how you're going to teach and help others. That's how you're going to bring that information and that knowledge to this world. Your task here and just the world, like, you are here to help save the world. And honestly, you might like really not see that, or others might not see that right away, not until they get to know you, you know? And that always is what happens. Like, you look at the world's greatest like leaders and shamans and religious figures, etc. That's what happens. Like, they don't live, the first part of their life like is very unassuming, is like not that good. They just seem like a regular Joe Schmo. And then bam, like they have a spiritual awakening and they are like unstoppable. And to some degree that is you in this life, right? And I really do feel like that is the divine child energy, having to go through this spiritual awakening that many of us do that are not divine children, but it may be like a very tough one for you, and in which you really have to work on shedding your ego. And I want to read the quotes from these cards because they are archetypes. Each of them are from characters in a movie. So it's going to help enhance that message of like what your archetypes are, and or what kind of archetypes, these are your guide cards, what kind of archetypes you really need to follow. So we've got the World card is Mia Jovovich as Lilo in the fifth element, which you actually chose in the pile. Lilo is perfection, the fifth element that combines with the other four to form the divine light and save the earth from the great evil. And her quote is, "Me, fifth element, supreme being, me protect you." And the life lesson here is, keep connected to the world while it's nurturing spirituality and inner needs. You will thrive with the right mix. I'm getting actually chills because that's like totally involved with like the nurturing and then finding the right mix with this temperance card. But anyway, moving on, we have the Empress, Elizabeth Taylor as Cleopatra in Cleopatra, the movie. And the quote spoken by Cleopatra on her role as a queen mother: "A woman, too, must make the barren land fruitful. She must make life grow where there was no life." And the life lesson here is, true acceptance and wealth come from within and can easily extend outward, right? So again, like really just finding this unique energy that you possess and radiating that outward to the world. I know that's easier said than done, but this is your life purpose here. And this is what those kind of feelings and activities are what are going to empower you and help bring you closer to your life purpose here. Okay. And then we have this Temperance card, who is Morgan Freeman starring as Ellis Boyd or Red Redding in Shawshank Redemption. And the quote by Red on saying goodbye to a friend is, "I have to remind myself that some birds aren't meant to be caged. And when they fly away, the part of you that knows it was a sin to lock them up does rejoice. But still, the place you live in is that much more drab and empty now that they're gone." And the life lesson here is to get back to the center, away from extremes, to restore well-being and harmony. Okay, and I'm feeling this message very, very strong, to find moderation in this lifetime. That is where the love is for you. To be patient and accept everything coming in. The bad, the good, the ups and the downs. As you're growing, you're also receding. That, as you're suffering, you're also becoming so much stronger. Again, find yourself and your calling within the duality of nature. Embrace what seems like a challenge, knowing that it will only make you stronger and it will help not only you, but humanity at large. You are meant to be on this earth to connect. And when you feel yourself slipping away from that, that's when you need to pull yourself back. Find that balance. Be good to yourself, nurture yourself, okay? Nurture others. Envelop yourself in doing something that you feel is the most meaningful thing on this planet. Not just what you feel like you have to do in that moment because it's your obligation. I'm not saying don't do your obligations, right? But when things get tough, when things feel like you can't see forward from them, that is absolutely when you need to check your balance, check your scales, and bring yourself back slowly but surely. Don't be hard on yourself, okay? You need to bring yourself back slowly but surely, okay? The pouring of water into these cups, okay? So that's what I have for you today, pile 3. I hope you enjoyed this reading, and thank you so much for watching. See you next time. Bye-bye. Hello, pile 4. How are we today? If you chose pile 4, that was the Lover's card and this lovely rose quartz, then this is the reading for you today. And I just want to point out that I'm really noticing a lot of synchronicity here between the pile and or card crystal assortment that you chose. Very much so, between the lovers, like the archetype of the lovers and the idea of the lovers, and also the number 4 very much is showing up here very strongly. And I feel you are a person definitely that chose this pile for a reason, because the archetype of the lovers is one very strong and very recognizable as well. So yeah, anyway, let's get into it. So we've got the 2 of Wands, 4 of Wands, the World in reverse, the 3 of Pentacles in reverse, and the 4 of Pentacles. And you, pile 4 person, I really see as the visionary. You definitely do have some planning, organization skills at your disposal. And you do have that logical and what you're going to build up into utilizing these visionary skills in a more logical way. But you do have really this visionary dreamer tendency that brings it home for you as a skill from childhood that you're going to carry through your life and really just work on refining in order to achieve your goals. Because actually you're put on this earth for a few things, and one of them is to succeed, but the true meaning of success, which is for you going to be about honing in your individuality, about building up the courage and sense of self-worth that you may have lacked a little bit in the earlier years. There may have been a tendency to depend on others, and I see you as a little bit more of a sociable person, and or just somebody that really, really values relationships. Again, I'm not just saying this because you picked the Lovers card. It's very much about the spread I have before me, but that's synchronicity right there. I do really think you have a great value towards relationships, and you really do see the true value in exchange between others, which is great because that's really something that not a lot of people see. Everybody, we live in a very narcissistic society, and many people are very focused on themselves. Like, I think you really definitely want that special somebody in your life. You definitely, value your friendships, etc. And you definitely are a person, I'm not sure if you're like a divine child, magical child. I feel like you might be more of a nature child archetype. The child archetype is not coming through strongly for me, but it is very much this visionary sense, right? So like you, I think, spent some of the earlier years really wanting this happy future. Like you wanted to be happy is what's coming through to me. Like you wanted harmony, and you wanted to be happy and loving, and you wanted those around you to be happy, and you kind of wanted this like happily ever after. This Four of Wands, it's about that kind of celebration, sort of this sense of like happily ever after for now, or just sharing amongst your friends, but also of stability, right? So it's talking about like we can be stable through happiness and harmony that we find with others, particularly others such as family members or people who are close to us. And with this world in reverse, it's speaking to dissatisfaction. So what we really do have this ability to manifest what we want. And a part of that is because we really do want the best for ourselves and others. But we're going to get to a point where we feel unsatisfied. And we're going to question what we really do want to envision in this life. And we might get to a point where we're really saying, okay, well, now what? I got my happily ever after in a way, but there has to be more to life. What realm that you're searching for, I believe, is the sense of self and this ability to, hone in these skills that you have that are, you're good at relationships, you're good at getting along with people and cooperating. And in fact, you might be too good at that, right? So we're gonna have to work on some balance within that and finding this immense strength within yourself, within doing things just for yourself. And through that, you will find literally success. You're going to be able to figure out what you want, which is this sense of self-worth and self-sufficiency. That to you is going to be the bliss that you were looking for in the beginning, all along. This sense of peace and strength within your body and your mind and your soul. That is going to be the goal for you, right? And then once you figure out that that is what you want, you are going to be able to work step by step, methodically to achieve that in all scenarios in your life. Okay, and you're going to be able to show people, and I almost see you like potentially could be someone like a life coach, right? If you really, really hone in these skills, because you are the person, you have the big dreams, you are great with people, and you understand things like, and can put things in a very like soft and loving perspective for people. But you have gone through and are going through in this life the skills of building that tougher outer shell that rejuvenates and lights up the beauty from within yourself, and uses logic, uses persistence, uses know-how, knowledge, and the wisdom of your experiences to ignite that fire within, okay? And here with this Four of Pentacles, it can mean, and I definitely don't want to get ahead of myself here, but it can literally mean like your goal is to become wealthy and show others like how to be wealthy. But I would say that's only if this is you at the beginning of your life, coming from maybe a poorer background, or maybe from a situation in which money seemed really hard to get. So it's gonna be money if that was something that seemed impossible for you at first, right? But this is not about greed, right? If you're like obsessed with money and have like a money issue, like this is not gonna be you, right? Because this is about achieving success through finding your self-worth. So if money is something that you just sort of develop an addiction and unhealthy relationship with, that's not enhancing your self-worth at all, right? It's going to be about realizing your power here. Realizing your power, not needing anybody else, loving everybody else, and still fostering and valuing those relationships, but valuing number one first, which is you, okay? So I see that very much for you. And honestly, I really believe you're a beautiful person, and you have at your disposal the meshing of like really fire and earth here, and this instinctual nature, just this really authentic nature about you that has always been you since childhood, right? But what you're gonna get into is just some practicality to help you ground yourself on this earth, okay? And help you show the world that you can achieve whatever you put your mind to. Whatever you set out to do, you can do it. It's yours for the taking, okay? And I'm just gonna pull some oracle cards for you just to ask what kind of avenues might these skills come out in your life? Maybe what tools would you use to develop and foster your life purpose? What areas of your life will you find this life purpose in for you? Okay. So this one's coming out. Alrighty, we've got Five of Swords, which another group got as well. This one is definitely like coming out for me, and it's in reverse, but Ace of Wands in reverse. Okay, we've got these other two also in reverse. And the reversals for me are like really kind of speaking to the fact that, again, this is gonna come from within. This growth, like your growth and your purpose is all within. So don't look outside. Do not look outside. Do not look to others. Do not ask them. Go within yourself, okay? This Five of Swords, right? Like challenges, problems, again, like kind of indicates fighting mental, verbal arguments with others, and maybe the idea that others have one-upped you in a way, or, you know, could be, you know, others have bullied you in a certain way, you know, or even you being the one that's like bullying others, right? You know, which I hope is not the case, but it's okay because we all have, you know, our thing, I guess. But anyway, what it's indicating here in this whole spread really is going to be like verbal arguments with others, right? And so from that, and a lot of these readings are getting, you know, there's some challenging cards here in where this growth is coming up. And I think that's really interesting because you're going to have to look at these challenges, at these arguments with others to find yourself, okay? To find and learn your self-worth and learn to stick up for yourself and learn to go after what you want and what you believe in, okay? Not anybody else. And this Ace of Wands, right? Like in reverse, and the Six of Pentacles in reverse. Nobody is going to give you any extra help. You're gonna have to be the one to stand up and take that. Okay, you're gonna, especially this Six of Pentacles in reverse is like very much about like people could be stealing from you, etc. And so I think in those challenges of people trying to take your worth away from you, you're gonna have to find that fire inside. That's where the fire, you can literally feel it, your third chakra, I just wanna let you know. And I feel like I sensed a lot of yellow for this pile. And it's interesting because we got a yellow card, but yellow is the color of the third chakra, which is the chakra Manipura of self-worth. And it literally, if you tune into yourself, there is a fire feeling inside of your abdomen. And that is your Manipura chakra. It's, in my opinion, one of the strongest chakras to feel, but I know that's different for everybody. But anyway, for you, pile 4, you need to get in touch with that Manipura chakra right now. And you need to start feeling that fire within, because that is what you need to manifest in this life. And it's so beautiful. Let me tell you, it is so beautiful when you can feel that fire within, because just knowing there's so much energy, there's so much untapped potential inside of ourselves is fucking rad. And that's very, very much for you, pile 4. Like, I'm not saying love and relationships are not in the cards for you. They absolutely are, but that is not what you are meant to be on this earth for. You can certainly get along with people, and that is just great and fine, but you have to remember your goal in this life is yourself. Your goal is that fire within, right? And then we have this Emperor in reverse, which is kind of a cool sign for you. I sense it's going back to this like Empress energy. The Emperor is the masculine influence, also represents like power, control, really like the patriarchy. Sorry, my camera focus is not great, but really the patriarchy, but not necessarily in a negative way. But right now we could think of you as like anti-patriarchy, right? And that in those moments, in those situations and realms of life is where you will find your life purpose. So we think about this Empress archetype who's very grounded, like I said, grounded to the earth, and that's the Pentacles as well. It's earthly needs, material pleasure, it's experiencing the senses, the sensory needs, right? So I feel for you, that's something you really need to tap into in order to hone into this feeling of self-worth that you have, right? You know, I think very much through that, like, you might be even like a yoga instructor, just somebody that's really in tune. And that's why I said like nature child too. I think for some of you that's gonna be true, probably not all of you, but you definitely have those abilities to be very much in touch with nature, to be in touch with like all beings and really form that intimate, loving connection with others. You are like a sensory person. Honestly, I'm like really sensing like Libra energy, but could also be like Taurus related, Pisces to Virgo, probably others. But you know, and the reason I say Libra is, you know, relationships are very valued and are also a very strong suit of a Libra individual. And the self-worth is usually on the lower end of the spectrum of their skills. And for many Libras, that is like one of the hardest things to achieve. But, and also this like Empress and being a Venus sign, right? Being in touch with just the senses and sensory experiences, which is why like nature is such a great place to find that, because it is so quiet and so raw, and yet when you go deep into it, it's so fascinating and so full of life, like in every little nook and cranny. And that might help you to understand that the same is about you and your body and your soul within you. Like there's so much little things going on, you know, inside of you. And it's actually so interesting, just you by yourself. It's so beautiful. It's the same kind of harmony that we experience, you know, in a relationship with others, right? Within. It might even be more interesting and entertaining, right? So this is just something to think about for you. And last but not least, I'm gonna pull some final guidance cards from this movie tarot deck. And these are all characters from a movie, like the ones that you chose, the lovers, in the pile picking part of the video. However, so we're using these as guidance cards. These can be cards from your guides, messages from your guides above, or any guides above. Oop, these two fell out. Or just think of it as guiding advice, just last final messages for you on your journey here. So we've got the Star, the Magician. We're gonna see, are there any final guidance cards for pile 4 here? Oh my gosh. Okay. We've got the Chariot and the Magician and the Star. Okay, so first of all, don't want to toot my own horn, but I totally called it with the Magician. This is like The Alchemist. If we're talking about archetypes, if you read Carolyn Miss's work, or Carl Jung, or anybody else that works with archetypes, but I'm kind of referring to Carolyn Miss because that is one I am more familiar with. The Magician basically relates to the Alchemist archetype. And the Alchemist is, you know, all of us have this within us, right? This ability to manifest. And like I said, like, that is your purpose, right? Manifesting, achieving success, being a visionary, deciding what you want and getting it. But that's within, right? You know, you really have in this life, like, the guides and the guiding advice for you is to like realize that you have this gift of an alchemist, and to know that like whatever challenges and obstacles get in your way, whatever other people tell you, or however you might get down or discouraged, you have the power within yourself, you and solely you, to manifest what you want. And I feel like there is a calling to really look into magic, or talk to your guides, or look into something like astrology with this Star card, because just like to look to the sky and to believe in the divine, believe in something greater than what this world is telling you, that like just the scientific facts, because I really feel like you know that, and like you honestly might have psychic abilities, because this felt like the most like synchronized deck with like what you chose and what came out of here. I feel like you were almost speaking to me through this reading, and this Two of Wands card as well. Like I really do feel like you have definitely a good intuition, some psychic and empathetic abilities, because also like you're definitely in tune with others too, right? The Star card is beautiful also because it is a sign of hope, and when it's coming as a guidance card, it's one of the most beautiful signs, because it's telling you, do not give up. There will be a light at the end of the tunnel. Whatever kind of negativity you might be going through, whatever challenges you are facing, there is always somebody watching you, okay? And not like Big Brother is watching, like you're surrounded by divine support, as they say, and you absolutely will make it through. And this is very, very much a sign for that. Like, you've been put on this earth in this lifetime to achieve that success, because you're meant, I believe, to show others the way too. And this Chariot just simply means you might be like holding back, trying to make decisions, whatever. You just need to start going for it. You just need to start like leaving the past behind. You can achieve whatever you set out to do. You are the only one that got this Chariot guide card, number 1, okay? So it's saying like, go for it. Like, just do it, Nike swoosh. There's no more of a yes, go card than this. And this is saying like, yes, yes, yes. So you're gonna find that strength, like in positivity, in the happiness. Life's not gonna be like perfect, easy, blissful for you. Like, it's not that for anybody, right? But for you, you're not a person that has to like suffer so deeply. Like, when you are suffering, like, you are going to bring yourself out of that. And the faster that you learn to bring yourself out of that, the faster that you will get out of that, because you'll be okay with yourself. You'll realize that you don't have to suffer. Like, you don't have to live like this. And I also just want to read the quotes from each of these characters as well. Okay, so we've got the Star, who is Judy Garland as Esther Blodgett, or Esther Hoffman Howard in A Star is Born. And her quote is, "You see how long it's taken me to get this far. Now, all I need is just a little luck. And the life lesson here is remember that there is always darkness before dawn. Okay, just like I said, like this is the hope card. When it's dark, just be patient, right? And then we have the Magician, or the Alchemist, like I was calling it, but it's really the Magician card, who is Matt Damon as Mark Watney in The Martian. And Mark's quote when he's talking about simplicity in life struggles is, you do the math. You solve one problem and you solve the next one. If you solve enough problems, you get to come home. I can imagine his voice there. And anyway, the life lesson here is recognize and acknowledge your gifts and use your power well. Okay. And then we've got, last but not least, the Chariot, who is Russell Crowe as Maximus in Gladiator. And the quote from him is, as Maximus faces the killer of his family, "My name is Maximus Decimus Meridius, commander of the armies of the north, general of the Felix legions, and loyal servant to the true emperor. Father to a murdered son, husband to a murdered wife, I will have my vengeance." And the life lesson here is to obtain something special, step up to the plate, but don't expect it to be easy. That is actually really enhancing what we were talking about, because, you know, for you, this is not indicating like life is going to be deeply, you know, sad and destructive, but you've got to step up to the plate sometimes, you know, and find that, use that fire within, like I was talking about, that fire that's going to help you get the success that you need, the success that you were put on this earth to achieve, okay? That is your purpose, that self-worth. And once you get like a little bit later in your life or start meditating on this, you're gonna see why you were meant to be successful, why you were meant to be a visionary and find your self-worth and inspire others to do the same in this life. Okay, but for now, pile 4, I really hope you enjoyed this reading, you beautiful, beautiful soul. And please enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope to see you next time. Bye-bye.